All right, welcome into the Keep Prowling podcast. I don't even know if I should start with an intro today. I think I got my boy Lawrence Gilligan from WCCB News Rising. I think we should just start with a little dance for the win, okay? A little dance for the win. That's it, you know?
Shaking those haters off, at least for a week.
Just at least for a week, okay? But I'm definitely excited. First off, to have you back.
Yeah,
you know,
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
After the first win, you've been here a while. You've been here a couple times.
We've been through it.
We've had to have the talk about this team. Okay,
therapist, man. I go over these guys.
Yeah.
You know, these guys have been like, man, all right, we got to talk about this.
But definitely, excited that the Panthers got their first win.
Yeah.
Your boy Eddie Pinheiro got, he
man.
kicked it through. Yeah,
Eddie.
you just talked to him not long ago.
I did.
How was he feeling back then versus how he's feeling right now?
Confident, man. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. Like, it's funny. It's weird because doing the story on him, it was for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah.
But he was a good dude. Was really, really confident in what he's able to do, his capabilities, soccer background, obviously. He's got highlight videos back in high school when he was kicking them 70 yards.
Yeah.
No joke. Obviously, different circumstances, but still. So the guy's got a leg.
Right.
But I'll tell you what. After missing that extra point in the first, I'm like, Eddie.
Pressure was on.
I know. I'm like, oh
Pressure
my
was
gosh.
on, huh?
But hey, you're bound to miss an extra point here and there. It's further out nowadays, right? So
yeah. So, and I think that was the whole purpose of it. Back a couple years ago when they were like, we're going to change it.
Yeah.
They want a little more opportunity for a miss.
Right.
Same thing with the onside kicks too.
I know.
They're thinking about changing that because it's getting too easy to you can't stack one side.
Right.
Because back 10, 15 years ago, it's like you didn't know like. The onside kick was like almost like 50-50. Now it's like, 80-20 at this
I know.
point.
Like back in the day, it was like you had the first line of defense, right? Those guys block the other guys, and then you pray the hands team, gets the ball and just, sits down. So hopefully they make it more competitive somehow because I always like a good onside kick to see what happens. And now, like you said, 9 times out of 10, you're like, all right, that was anticlimactic. Let's move on. But yeah, it was cool, man. If you do want to check out Eddie, his story on how he got into the league, how he got into college, definitely head to our website, man, because we have that up there. He was a really cool, really great guy to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, you take the lead this time, on that one. That's you got a chance to be in the driver's seat, and you were like, hey,
man,
what do you when you do an interview like that, because I know you're kind of pushing for the story a little bit too.
For sure.
What's the preparation like for that type of thing?
Well, obviously we all know how talented he is on the field, right? Kicking field goals and things like that. But this was more of the human aspect of it.
Yeah.
He comes from a family. His mom is from Nicaragua. Mm-hmm. His father's Cuban. So both, came here over to our country. When they were in their teens. And his story is pretty much they met on a Sunday at church. And I remember him saying, and here I am. That's exactly what he said. He's hilarious, man, because he's just so likable, man, and has that confidence. But it's cool. It's a wild story, man, because, like I said, his family coming from the United States, they didn't have that much money or anything, but he was talented in high school as a soccer player. Yeah. Gatorade Player of the Year in Florida. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the dude, he was getting ready to go. He wanted to chase soccer because his dad played pro soccer too. Mm-hmm. And he realized, hey, like, where can I make money? How can I provide for my family?
Right.
And so football was an alternate, something he was doing for the high school football team. He quit it a couple different times because he was just like, I just don't want to do that. My passion's soccer. But he stuck with it. His parents didn't have enough money to get him to a kicking camp in Alabama to go see Nick Saban and kick in front of, Nick Saban and whatever that tape lies further down the road, right? Mm-hmm. So his uncle lent him money, and on the check, it said, this is for Eddie's future. Pay me back when you're in the NFL, okay? And so it was really cool talking to him about that moment because, sometimes you want to shy away from those kind of stories because, hey, it's tough, man. You see a lot of people that are rich and famous now or have the fruits of their labor finally pay off till once they reach that level. Yeah. And so it was really cool to talk to him about the struggles his family had financially and where he was as a kid in that world, where his parents, he told me his parents, played it off really well, that they were struggling, financially. And that's all you could really do for your kids, right, is for them not to see that negative aspects of life, right? Yeah. Hey, the rest paid off, man. He ended up going to Florida instead of Alabama. He got a full ride to Bama, but turned it down because that was another thing where his dad, they sat him down and said, like, hey, we can't afford to come to Alabama on a weekend basis to watch you kick.
Right.
And so that's why he chose University of Florida. Being from Miami, it was a faster drive for his family to get up there and watch him play.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see him, man. You root for guys like that in the league. And you know what? The league's filled with those guys because, let's face it, man, I mean, it's not always about the number 1, number 2 picks and stuff like that really have, a lot of luck work out, but, also the athletic prowess to get there. Yeah. But you got a lot of stories of guys that, man, just get a shot, make the most of that opportunity. And here he is, man. Yeah. He was riding off into the sunset yesterday, man. It was hilarious. It was hilarious watching, him hop on, what was it, the placeholder.
Hecker.
That's what it was. Yeah, I know. And it's just, man, it made me feel really good for that guy for sure.
Yeah, that it's obviously it's a awesome story, and it's cool to I always think it's cool to the story behind the story, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We know these players kind of behind this glass wall
for sure
of their players, but then that human aspect of it that sometimes you don't get to see because you see them in the limelight, you see them with the paparazzi, whatever it may be, right?
Exactly. Right,
so
man.
It's cool because even in this game, it was 12-13, right? There's a couple penalties happening.
That was
you're
wild,
just getting a little. I think especially as somebody watching, hoping for that first win, you're getting a little bit nervous, right? You're like, I don't. Because it's because the first one he kicked through. And, they had this whole unevaded to the quarterback to the kicker type thing where, you don't get as many free plays anymore, right? So it kind of would have been a free kick where you can kind of just, kick it through and, you accept it, decline the penalty, whether you want to re-kick or, if you were to miss it or something. But, they kept inching it forward and, he had just, like you said, he missed the extra point early. That's why they were in the position to begin with. And, you're just the pressure's on. But,
the pressure's on,
exactly. He said, hey. This is my thing right here. This is nothing.
I know, man. I know. And so that's the thing too. It's in the NFL. It's I don't know if it easier or harder to get that much closer to the uprights because it's almost like a precision type deal, right? Yeah. If you're further back, maybe it's maybe if your kick usually fades or goes to the left or right, maybe that's a little bit better. But I don't know. Either way, I'm like. Oh,
it's amazing how much of a difference too, kicking the laces versus not does.
Laces in versus out. If you look at college, the hashes are further out, so it's more of an. I'm I don't know how you kick in college. That's probably the hardest thing to do. Yeah. But I'm happy for him, man. That was a big one. It was a big win in general, man. I'm glad they finally got off, that losing streak, man.
Yeah. It was a big win because it sets them up to potentially get back in the division race. We'll talk about that a little bit, and probably in the second segment of the show. Sure. But first things first, 15-13, the Panthers finally get that first win of the season, right? C.J. Stroud came in. I don't think he played as well as he normally does. This seemed, and maybe it's the defense. Maybe it was the defense this week. They were, getting after him a little bit because, it was 16-24 for 140. He's been going over 250, it feels like his entire time.
A fantastic rookie campaign, man. He had a lot of people questioning why they picked right?
Right, yeah.
Because that was bound to happen. There's always storylines to every matchup, especially this one. So I'm glad, the defense balled out, showed up, and, man, I'll tell you what, in the first quarter, when they went forward on 4th and goal, and they missed it, like they did in Week 1 against Atlanta, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. Because at this point, if the offense is struggling to score touchdowns, you just got to take whatever points.
Take the points,
I know 3-0 or the 3 points doesn't look sexy.
Yeah.
But you're on the board.
Yeah.
And in a game like this, if it wasn't for that 4th down completion by Young to Thielen and all those penalties to get Pinheiro in that position to hit a game winner, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think too, for this offense, what I've been seeing offensively from the Panthers is, and be sure to let me know what you guys are seeing out there as well. But for me, I feel like they can move the ball down the field. They can make a big play here and there. They have so much potential. It's just they don't finish the drives, especially with touchdowns.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get so close to field goal range, but they're not quite in field goal range.
Right, just on the cusp, man. I know. I've seen that too. Have you seen that a lot where it's in the 50-yard range for Pinheiro to come out? And it's man, you'll never really see Pinheiro then give him a chance to hit a 57 or 58 yarder because I'm
Yeah.
sure the stats aren't there, right? I mean, that's a high quality kick for a lot. That's a gamble, right? So they kick it away, rely on the defense, which you have a good defense like that, you should because you want to flip the field eventually. But you're right. That little area from the 35 to the 25 before you even get into the red zone. Well, red zone I think starts at 35 or 25. 20.
Yeah.
So that little area right there, and then after that, once you get inside the 10, hard to finish.
Yeah.
Really hard to finish.
And I think, when you look at the stats, I'll run through them real quick, and you can tell me what you see from the stats.
Yeah.
So on the defensive end for the Panthers, they're holding C.J. Stroud to 140 yards, 16 to 24. Damian Pierce had 12 carries for 46 yards, and then Noah Brown led the receivers with 3 receptions for 57. I know they're probably like receiver by committee more than anything.
For sure.
Damian Pierce was a very talented back. You held him in check, it felt like. But on the other side, when it comes to the Panthers, Bryce Young, 22 of 31 for 235 a TD. That looks a whole lot better than what you've been seeing. And I saw, too, just from that, not only that stat, but just watching the game as well, they felt like they attacked downfield a little bit more to open up some things, right? And I think when you look at the rushing numbers, Miles Sanders was active, but I don't know how active he was.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, 15 carries for 28 yards. He leads the Panthers in rushing with 28 yards for the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on the season, he leads the Panthers in rushing.
Right.
For a guy, considering you signed a guy to big money in the offseason to hopefully take some pressure off of Bryce Young, and it just hasn't been there.
No, I don't think he has, and I don't know if that comes to Sanders maybe not being still 100% healthy. Obviously that's a factor, but I just don't know where the wrinkle in the offensive system or whatever they're trying to do fits him. If Hubbard's a guy to run, just kind of setting stuff up okay. But yeah, I guess maybe you have to use Sanders in some kind of other way in the slot, kind of like a Thielen, but not way too far out, but in motion and things like that. You got to utilize that quickness and burst that he has.
Yeah, and I feel like you expected Sanders to be more like the burst guy, right? More of like the big play guy, the guy that was gonna really set your drive apart a little bit. Not you got the hammer and the nail type situation, right? Like you expected him to be the guy where Chuba Hubbard's going to get the grit yards.
Right.
Miles Sanders is going to make the big plays, make things easier for Bryce Young. And I just don't think. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Neither one of these backs have made life easier for Bryce Young. The offensive line hasn't made life easier for Bryce Young. So Adam Thielen led the receivers, 8 receptions for 72 yards. He's been playing out of his mind. It feels like lately he's been playing very well. He's the one guy consistently getting open.
Yeah.
I know Young did take some shots to DJ Chark. DJ Chark dropped one, and the other one I think they did connect on. But, that's good, too, to see them kind of, you got to try some things to open up some other things. And it makes me wonder, too, and I don't know how you feel about this, but, sometimes when you don't have a running game, you might use the short passing game as an extension of your running game. Is that something they should lean into? Like maybe getting the ball to Miles Sanders in space and letting him run after the catch? Because, we want to put the blame on the flashy player, right? We want to put the blame on Bryce Young. We want to put the blame on the receivers. We want to put the blame on Miles Sanders.
Sure.
We want to put the blame on Chuba Hubbard. But we have 5 guys on the front lines who also aren't doing their job to the best of their ability right now in this moment.
I think Young got sacked at least 6 times. Yeah. And Thomas Brown, I think, was his first time actually doing the play calling since Frank Reich said, "Hey, I'm going to hand it over." Yeah. So maybe those shots downfield and stuff was okay. Let's a little bit of a gamble. But let's see what we can do here. I think you're right. It's almost to the sense of even when CMC was here, when McCaffrey was here. Personally, I don't want to see CMC run in between the guards and the big guys, because that is just asking for injuries, asking for issues. You can't hammer him in the inside all the time like that. Yeah. So when it comes to the Thunder and Lightning, like you're saying, Thunder maybe is Hubbard more, and the Lightning is supposed to be Sanders. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you have to utilize more motion and stuff like that. The issue with that is that might keep Young back there by himself. So he has no secondary protection in terms of pass protection or anything like that. This was honestly on both ends of it a very ugly game in terms of the running game. I mean, Pierce only 12 carries, 46 yards. Yeah. So Houston obviously knew they couldn't really rely on him to do much. Hubbard 15 carries. So it's interesting to see how every game plays out and things like that. I thought it was a very sloppy game on both ends, but in part because both defenses really showed up. You know, and it almost showed how meaningful yesterday's game was.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was important obviously for the Panthers to get their first win and to get to, because hey, you have the Colts and then the Bears coming up. So hey, this is a good win to build some momentum.
Instead of get right stretch a couple weeks ago.
And then for the Texans, hey, I mean, they're trying to get to 500.
Yeah.
You know, or above 500, and now they're a game below 500. So, you know, it goes both ways. I'm glad the defense kept a minute, you know, because I think that's another thing where eventually you wear down. You know, if your offense can't move the sticks, you know, and I think Carolina pretty much dictated it a lot better, especially in the second half, you know, and hey, they made plays down the stretch when they needed to. That fourth down conversion to Thielen on that final drive, I thought it was Sanders or Mingo or whoever was coming across in front of Thielen. I thought he was going to catch it. Yeah, I thought he was going up, and then he stopped at the end.
Yeah.
If anything, if you're Thielen, maybe that even distracts you, and you kind of, and then the ball drops, and then we're in trouble, you know. But hey, kudos to that throw too, and that play for Thielen to making that grab.
Yeah, I think another thing too I want to see from the Panthers offensively, and there's a reason why we're not talking about the defense, because they're playing their butts off. They're turning people over. They're keeping you in games. You're holding people to 13 points. Yeah. You know, you're doing exactly what you need to do. You know, and another reason why you should probably keep Brian Burns and grab maybe a speedy receiver, or you know, figure out what you're gonna, you know, figure out what's the offensive issue. But I feel like it seems like the defense is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree.
Offensively, it feels like I want to see them throw into the blitz a little bit more. But it seems like, you know, and when I watch the game too, it seems like people are hitting Bryce Young with maybe things he hasn't seen before, or like late blitzes, those kind of delayed blitzes where you don't have time to say, all right, this guy's coming. That you know, that's the Mike linebacker right there. Like, you know, like he's coming late, and that's why they're not throwing into the blitz as much, because you know the best way to beat the blitz is throw right into it.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big learning curve from him, right? To be able to see that and find those different blitz packages that they're running. You know, even on the line part, you know, where they stunt and they zigzag and they cross you up and things like that. So it's just a matter of time. Obviously, you know, you hate to say that, but you know, obviously it's year one with Bryce Young, right? So he's gonna have to learn somewhere, and at least he's doing it on the field every game and not holding a clipboard. You know, which although I don't mind that sometimes, maybe the old fashioned, he's like, oh, he's not ready. He's not ready. But on the other end, maybe I think the game will eventually slow down for him. And I think it might be a little bit easier for him to, read defenses, maybe check into a secondary play that might fill that blitz. But like you said, if the blitz is delayed, you're in trouble. So, and maybe even I'll take that a step further. Maybe it's him coming to the line, seeing that linebacker, and maybe it's a what-if scenario. He probably doesn't have enough time because it don't take me 5 minutes to figure that out. But what I'm saying is that maybe he gets to the line, okay, well, if this Mike linebacker, if he's Mike and he's blitzing, where do I have to go secondary? You know what I mean? To kind of be another step ahead to where, okay, when that does happen, then he knows where to go.
Right, exactly. And hopefully you guys are following along at home as well. Once again, the Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms, so be sure, you know, to check us out everywhere. Your favorite podcasting platform. If we're not on your favorite, just let me know, and I'll make I'll make some calls. Okay, let's talk about this division real quick, and then we'll preview the game. So. I'm gonna make a statement right now. Okay. Y'all can hold me to this because it's gonna be on record. I think the Panthers. I think they're gonna come back and win this division. Oh, I mean, I get it. Okay, I'm riding the high of yesterday. I understand. Okay, I'm riding the high of yesterday. You get your first win. You know, you do what you got to do, but. When you look at it, you got, you know, sometimes you just got to look at it. I might, you know, I might be on a sword I might die on here, but okay. You know, but I might be living on a hill here or something, you know, whatever the saying is. But if you look at it, the Panthers right now are only 3 games behind first place, which sounds like a lot. I get it, right? Yeah. Sounds like a lot, but just imagine, like just, you know, use your imagination here. The Falcons drop 2 more games. So let's say the Panthers they win these next 2 games. They're 3-6. The Falcons drop the next 2 games. They're 4-6. The Saints drop the next 2 games. They're 4-6. The Bucs drop the next 2 games. They're 3-6. So you're tied with the Bucs. You're 1 game away from everybody else. Now I don't know right off who the Falcons, Saints, and Bucks play.
Yeah.
Right? I'm blindly saying
we're
this,
just
but
doing hypothetically. Yeah, for sure. I get it. I mean, I'm with you on that. I think, like we said before this game, during the bye week, I think this is the stretch that's winnable, right? So if they do win those 3, and they're 3-6, maybe you may not gain 2 games, but at least I would think you would gain at least 1 game, and then you're in the middle of it, right? So, that's a tough thing. Maybe they go maybe they split it.
Yeah.
One of these. I don't know. I have a feeling. I don't know if they'll lose to the Colts or the Bears.
Well,
but.
and 2, maybe even not in the division. You may be just looking at wild card, right? There's 7 spots.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to make it from each division, of course. But most of, in a lot of these divisions, most of the leaders are pretty far ahead. Right now, right? You got the Vikings at 4-4. You might could,
Right.
No Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is done for the year, torn Achilles, right? And you got that. The Rams and the Cardinals, they're not getting up anytime soon. It doesn't feel like the Giants and the Commanders. You're 1 game back from the Commanders,
right?
2 possibly with bye weeks and stuff like that. Like, the Packers and the Bears are not doing well either. No. So it's like there's room at least for the wild card spot. There's at least like the division seems far fetched, but in a couple weeks if the Panthers can win the 2 games they need to win. And they're sitting at probably 3rd in the division instead of, last in the division. We'll see.
For sure. I think it's a crapshoot now. You just, like I said, the next 2 games for sure are so important because they're the most winnable games they have, right, in the next few weeks, right, in terms of strength of schedule, I feel like. So we'll see, I don't know. I do like the momentum. I do like this next game's at home. That's huge, too. A lot more fans are going to be coming out for it. I think... It's winnable. Frank Reich's old team. There's so many little small storylines that, he's going to want this one for sure. Yeah. But you're right. Obviously the wild card I think comes out of the West, and Niners and Seahawks are battling up. But other than that wild card, the other one's I think up for grabs. Yep.
I think so.
We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Because what you got? What 3 wild card spots? You got the 4 division division winners and then 3 wild card spots. Yeah. So I mean, they could sneak into one of the. They could slide on in there. We're in spooky season. They might. I
like it. Yeah, I've seen crazy. Even last year, remember towards the end, they were dead in the water, and then they go on a little roll, and all of a sudden they're playing for their playoff chances at the very end. So it can happen. Yeah. It can happen.
The Panthers might just come out of nowhere. I mean, I'm just saying.
Man. I just hope the offensive line. Yeah, the offensive line needs some work there. So hopefully they get that on track. Yeah. They can be everything else.
And some of that's going to have to probably. I don't see them going after an offensive lineman at the trade deadline because I think it's hard to bring an offensive lineman midseason. Yeah. So some of that's going to have to go back in the scheme, and potentially, possibly, once again, we talked about it, grabbing a speed receiver that you can get the ball to, let him do his thing, and, go from there. Somebody you can get the ball out too quick and you see what happens, but. Yeah, maybe
they got to motion out Sanders more or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something. They got to figure out something.
Watch every single play. I got to... wish I can check tape. Call them up and get the full film.
All 22.
The full films. Yeah, just watch every single play. That wide shot of
Yeah.
Oh man, but hey, I'm glad they finally picked one up. That was the game they needed.
I agree. Let's talk about this Colts Panthers game, and then we'll pick the game, and then we'll head on out. All right. So the Colts at the Panthers this week. No Anthony Richardson, so Gardner Minshew's still doing his thing. He was a little banged up by 2, it felt like in that game last week. And I think, I talked about it before. I think this is a winnable game. No Anthony Richardson. Gardner Minshew is Gardner Minshew. He's, he's a formidable backup. He can, he can make some plays. But Gardner Minshew against this defense could be a good matchup for this defense, advantage this defense. So I think when I look at it, to win this game, the defense is going to have to just, do what they do every week. Probably get a turnover or maybe 2. And then this offense is going to have to finish drives. Now, this offense is going up against another good defense, right? But I feel like they played a little better against the good defense in Houston. So can they, how can they finish more drives? That's going to be the question going in, looking at the tape this week, trying to figure out where they can go because, the Colts defense is fast too. They got guys everywhere. They got good pass rushers, which is another thing to think about too with the offensive line. I want to see Bryce get the ball out quick And, I think you got to set him up with some yards after catch type plays, maybe some pick plays. I know they're illegal, but maybe some pick plays. You got to do what you got to do.
A lot of motion, a lot of guys running around doing stuff, smoke and mirrors, everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's going to have to be something like that for sure, because 15 points isn't going to do it against the Colts, I don't feel like. They have Taylor, obviously, at running back, and Zach, I can't think of the last
Zach
name.
Moss.
Zach Moss.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a two-headed monster right there, too. And if Minshew is healthy, I'm not sure what he is coming into this week, but that offense puts up a lot of points. Their defense gives up points too, though. It's just a matter, I think, of the Panthers.
What they give up? 31?
Yeah,
38?
yeah. I don't remember. I don't know the final off the top of my head, but it was a lot.
Yeah,
so,
they gave up a lot.
It's going to be an interesting game. I feel like this might be another kind of ugly game too. They have to make it ugly. The Panthers do. You got to be able to turn over Minshew. You have to figure out other ways to get better field position and to maintain the clock and make it ugly. If they make it ugly, they have a chance for sure.
Yeah, they might have to win ugly till they get pretty. Win ugly until you find the makeup drawer, put the makeup on a little bit.
Exactly.
You TV ready now.
I know, and I have 20 pounds of makeup on right now. But yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. So it's not always going to be pretty, and that's fine. Honestly, I thought the game with the Texans was going to be a little bit more high scoring. But the way the game played out and the way, there was a lot of hidden gems in that game in terms of the toughness and to not fold at the end. And to get that last drive, 15 plays or whatever it was to get down there. Yeah. And they're trailing. It's not like it's tied where you're like, okay, well, maybe we can. Yeah. No,
you got a little bit of leeway,
Yeah, no leeway there. Like, there ain't okay, well, hopefully the defense bails me out. No, it's like do or die. And, hey, man.
And sometimes you need that first win. Yeah. Right? Sometimes you need that first win to just like, okay, this is what we needed, right? Like, because now, because you have 6 weeks of losing tape to look at.
Yep.
Right? And now you got 1 week of winning tape and you can compare and contrast like, okay, this is what we did.
Right.
By hook or by crook, this is what we did to get this win. This is what we've been doing wrong. This is, how can we adjust?
There are a couple of points that I'm sure will always be made that we can get better, and that's the whole point, right? So that's a good thing too. Is that hey, they squeaked out that tough win. The good teams do that. Even the crummier, or even like the best team, somehow they kind of just grit out a win, and that's what they needed to do. And luckily, and I'm thankfully that they did that, man. Because Mondays feel so much better when they win, don't they?
Yeah, victory Mondays,
Victory Monday,
Food Truck Tuesdays, maybe, whatever.
I know, let's go. But I'm happy for those guys, man. I'm really hoping to see. I already know, man. Bank of America Stadium's going to be pretty lively. This
should be fun
for sure. So
should be a lot of fun. Let's pick these games.
Okay.
And let's send everybody home. Okay.
All right.
We're gonna send y'all home early.
Okay.
That's what after the long-winded preacher get done. That's what he always say. We're gonna send y'all home early. But let's go Thursday night. Okay. The Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man. This is a tough one because honestly, I thought the Steelers were going to really play better on Sunday than what they did.
Kenny Pickett got hurt. That hurts.
Kenny Pickett got hurt, so that's going to hurt them. Will Levis.
Yeah. Hey.
Dude's a star. I like the kid. I thought I have a really good friend of mine who is a big Kentucky guy.
Yeah.
He's like, and I remember watching a game against I think Ole Miss, and I'm like, who's this kid? Because he just has that build. He's just a big dude.
Yeah.
And he's pretty gritty too. So I was happy to see him.
And he obviously likes his coffee gritty too with the mayonnaise in it. So
that's a little. I'm not being that gritty about it, but I'm also an old man. I gotta watch that cholesterol. So that's a tough one, dude. That's gonna be a fun one. I don't know if Will Levis comes back down to earth, but I'm gonna go with Tennessee on this one, just because, like you mentioned, Kenny Pickett. That's up in the air. We don't know what's gonna happen with that. And I think the Titans have the running attack to kind of, with Henry to kind of dictate.
Unless something crazy changes this week.
Yeah.
Specifically tomorrow, because we're filming this on a Monday.
Yeah.
If something happens on Tuesday, okay, then we might have to change this pick.
I know.
But as of right now, I'm expecting Derrick Henry to be in his Oilers or Titans uniform, and I think Tennessee wins this game. I think Tennessee grinds out this game. This is going to be an ugly game.
This is going to be
it's going to be an ugly game. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins played his butt off yesterday too. Like he's finding his way too.
Right.
Will Levis might just be the breath of fresh air that they need.
You need that spark sometimes, man.
Yeah. Indy, Jacksonville, better look out.
That was a big win. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I wouldn't have picked. Well, actually, I did pick Tennessee to win that one, but that's one of those games you're like, oh, we'll pick. You know. Come on.
Yeah.
You're bound to pick one right? I sure as heck didn't pick Denver over Kansas City. That was wild.
They haven't beaten them in years,
2017,
Yeah.
I don't think Mahomes has actually ever lost to Denver since he's been drafted. How crazy is that?
That is crazy. Yeah. And once again, no team's unbeatable any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, man. Russell Wilson out there dropping dimes. I'm like, who's this guy? Where'd this guy all of a sudden
He took the cooking class.
He took the cooking
over the weekend,
He was just like, I'm like, all right, there you go, Russell.
The ghost of Russell's past came back.
What's going on here?
Was,
I know it's Halloween coming up, but jeez.
Yeah. But I think Tennessee wins this game.
Okay.
In gritty fashion, Miami and Kansas City going all the way to Germany, all the way to Germany. Not in. They might try to bring Arrowhead to Germany, but they're not in Arrowhead this time. I think this one's tough, right? Because Kansas City is, for the most part, pretty consistent. Right. They don't drop multiple games back to back or anything like that. So I feel like they could win this game, but something's telling me Miami. Miami's had their little bit of struggles too. They played, they found their way against New England. They started out pretty slow, but I think Miami gets the win here. I think they upset them.
Again. I think so too. I think Kansas City. It's almost like the Niners earlier in the year. Remember, we're like, this team might go undefeated. Yeah. Honestly, they were that great, and then now they're 5-3.
Yep.
So it just goes to show, like you said, anything can happen at any given Sunday, and I want to root for Miami for sure, because I'm also a Raiders fan too, so I don't like Kansas City at all. But yeah, I think Kansas City's honestly just kind of, just so flashy.
Yeah.
And they're so flashy and just kind of, I'm like, I don't understand because they play so boring. I feel like their offense is just so boring. It's the same thing over and over.
It's not like back when they had Tyreek Hill where it was just
this is the cute stuff now. They're making stuff.
Oh, Tyreek Hill's going for revenge in this one.
Yeah.
Hope
he goes for 250.
Tyreek Hill, he's going for revenge on this one.
I know. So I'll go with Miami with you as well on that one for sure.
Okay. And I think Miami's talent versus Kansas City's defense, which has been far better than it's been in years past.
They've been bending and just not completely breaking yet. Yeah. Obviously, yesterday's sloppy game, 28 degrees, you name it. They get down early. It's bound to happen. Yeah. It's mile high. You're winded already. You probably just want to go home.
Yeah. So. If you're Minnesota with the talent that you got, you got a little bit of talent at running back. You got talent at receiver. Yeah. Do you call up an old Carolina faithful around here, Cam Newton, and try to make a run? Do you do it, or do you just go with whatever 32 ain't better than me behind me? What do you do?
I was reading that there's like Carson Wentz, other dudes that I guess that are available. I would not. I mean, look, I've loved Cam Newton when he was 20. What he did for the franchise, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But Cam Newton now, who knows what he's doing?
And it's hard too because it's Cam Newton in another situation where he's starting the season mid-season, has to learn the offense mid-season.
Right.
Temper your expectations a little bit. It's a little hard to come learn a new offense right off the bat like that. But for some reason I think Minnesota wins this game. That's how fraudulent I think Atlanta is.
Well, I think the Vikings have a good defense too, right? Yeah. So they're going to give whoever's back there snaps, taking snaps, opportunities. Mm-hmm. I don't even know who their second string quarterback is, Minnesota.
I don't know. You never know. Taylor Heineke might come. If Taylor Heineke plays, I might have to change my mind because he somehow just wins these games. Right. I don't know what it is.
No, right. So it's just, I like that too because, the thing with Atlanta too, they benched Ritter.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in shambles too. I don't know.
I think it's one of those. I think for the Panthers' sake, you hope Minnesota finds a way to win this game. But I think that's tough because Minnesota's really talented. Like Jordan Addison's really good. Justin Jefferson's going to come back at some point, and they're going to still be a quarterback away. From being a really good team. They have the defense. They've been playing well.
Yeah, they have Nick Mullins, Sean Mannion.
I don't trust any of those guys.
Jaron Hall's a rookie and a 5th-round draft pick.
I don't trust any of those guys. None of them. Not one.
Maybe might be a dude they're looking into. Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston. I don't know. I don't really think.
That's another one too. Like Minnesota in the position that they're in right now. Right now, everybody knows Minnesota's desperate. What do they do with the trade deadline? Right? Because now you're like maybe one of these backup QBs might be exactly what you need.
Yeah, maybe a Trey Lance kind of guy.
Yeah, maybe. It could be a question.
You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, and now they kind of caught fire too in the past couple of games too, the Vikings. So.
And you wonder what they're going to do with the future of Kirk Cousins before the injury. Now you got this big injury he's got to try to come back from.
He's got to come back from that, and when he's in his 30s. So I mean, it's a bummer for the guy. You know, any time you get an injury like that, it's 6 to 8 months recovery unless you're Aaron Rodgers, which is crazy to me. But
use some of that deer antler spray Ray Lewis was using or something. You know?
I know, but I like the Vikings too. Why not?
Okay, let's move to Arizona at Cleveland. Okay. Who knows what Deshaun Watson's doing this week? I feel like it's going to be a forever and never-ending question.
Yeah, I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Arizona just got beat up by Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like their quarterback finally kind of came down to earth a little bit. Arizona's kind of.
They're waiting on Kyle to come back.
They are, right. They're waiting. So, yeah, and I think the Browns, are sustainable, especially at home.
Yeah.
If they show up, against the Niners, like that game.
Yeah. And the Browns' defense is really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, same kind of deal, but they're going to keep you in the game. It's just a matter of trying to make plays. P.J. Walker can make plays. Obviously, he did against the Niners. Mm-hmm. Did they get lucky towards the end there with some holding calls? Yeah. But that's either way, it's exactly, man. So, hopefully they play to what they're capable of and not playing to what the Cardinals are. Because sometimes, you let a team in that, we should beat these guys. And then all of a sudden, your level's not where it needs to be to win. And then all of a sudden, you lose. So I'm going with Cleveland, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go with the Rams in a game of two of the I think the Rams is one of the biggest disappointments. I think Green Bay is one of the teams that I kind of jumped on the bandwagon early when they looked good week one, and that was about it.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to go with the Rams. See, the Rams got to bounce back after that embarrassing loss against Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And they're still kind of in the thick of the West, but I think
they're another team that's so talented but can't get out of their own way.
Right, and a team like that, a team like that, you just gotta need to just get into that wild card, spot, right? Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Rams too.
Okay. Washington at New England. Man. I think Washington gets his win. Washington is the weirdest phenomenon I've seen in football in quite some time. I feel like they have all the potential to be really good, and they're just not. But they're good enough to beat New England, because I don't think New England's good at all.
I don't think so either, but then New England beat the Bills. I know that's a rivalry game. Sure. I get it. I think that's going to be another ugly game, too, because Ron Rivera and that defense will probably want to show up and see what they can do against New England.
Yep.
So that'll be an interesting game. I'm going to root for Riverboat Ron in Washington, and hopefully they can change their season around a little bit. I thought they let Philadelphia off the hook a little bit. I was disappointed in that just because...
I feel like they had their chances.
They were up by like 10 plus, man.
Yeah, they were up.
So I want to see them bounce back with a win.
Yeah. All right, Chicago at New Orleans. Don't know if Justin Fields will be back either.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games we were talking about before. New Orleans needs to lose this game for the Panthers' sake.
No,
okay,
they do.
Do it for the Panthers. Do it. Put that on the shirt. Do it for the Panthers.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm gonna put some good luck. I'm gonna put some luck on the Bears' way just because we need the Saints to lose.
Yeah. I think the this one's hard. I want to go with the Saints because it feels like the smart pick because I don't know what Chicago's going to do. But Chicago, when going up against teams that are close to their level or maybe a hair above, they play well. I mean, they played against the Chargers, who another one of the league's biggest disappointments. But the Chargers are a talented team, and they can win games. They can put up. They're an explosive offense. But going up against a backup quarterback. So I think Chicago wins this game. I do. I'm going with it.
Too. I'm going with it. All right, we're going Chicago. And so next one's Seattle at Baltimore. And Seattle's interesting, man. I don't understand how they're 5-2, but Geno Smith's. I'm still not a Geno Smith believer. I just can't. I don't know. I always just like I said. I pictured Geno Smith in a Jets jersey just playing really bad.
You're not a Geno Smithy.
I'm not I like that. I'm not a Geno Smithy at all. So I'm stunned that they keep winning. But kudos to them, though, man. I want to pull. Man, I want to pull for Seattle just because I know you're a Ravens dude.
That's crazy. Seattle is ahead of the Niners right now.
I
didn't even know.
I know.
What?
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
What's going on?
Oh man.
And Baltimore, I mean, back-to-back games of just they're on a. They are red hot and rolling right now, my man. Lamar Jackson's feeling himself. I think I think they're kind of starting to gel a little bit together, which is good to see. The defense, same thing, man. You guys are just the defensive It's the Ravens defense, man.
Yeah,
you know
the Ravens defense doing what the Ravens defense does.
And it's in Baltimore, so I want to go Seattle, but I think I'll give this to the home team, Baltimore.
Okay, I think Seattle cross country trip, because honestly, the Ravens didn't look good in the game, although they didn't look good in a 31-point outing. As crazy as that sounds to say out loud. Yeah. But you're traveling cross country. That's a tough trip.
For sure.
They came out. They felt a little flat. And I think with Seattle, I think it's going to be the opposite around, right? They're coming across country, right? They'll probably be a little flat. They're playing a little earlier than they're used to playing.
Yeah.
That's another one too. And I think with Baltimore, I think they're just gonna once again have to play a clean game. I think it's a pretty good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Gus Edwards had 3 rushing touchdowns against the Cardinals. Get down to the red zone, you hand it off, you let him do his thing.
Right.
And
you have to stress too much.
Yeah.
Not getting in the end zone.
Yeah. That's gonna and depending on what they do at the trade deadline too, are they after your running back just ran for 3 scores, are you in the market for a running back? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I think Baltimore should win this game. I don't know if they'll win big by any means, but I think it'll be one of those grinded out type games.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be an interesting offensive game. We'll see if Geno Stone can continue his pick fest that he's going on. So I'll go Baltimore too on that one. Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston could win this game for the Panthers. For the Panthers.
I don't think they will. I think Tampa Bay bounces back.
You think so?
I think so too. I do.
Tampa Bay is confusing too. Like what are they?
Yeah.
Are they good? Are they not?
And they played Monday night, right? So they had to have an extended break. I think Tampa Bay somehow comes out with a win. Although I don't want them to win. I have a feeling they're going to win.
Okay. I think Houston wins this game.
Good.
I think Houston's offense can do some things against Tampa Bay's defense, and I think Houston's defense is good enough to stymie the offense of Tampa too. Because when we saw, even Tampa with Buffalo, this past week, like there was some struggles there, right? There was some struggles getting Mike Evans involved. That kind of hurt a little bit, and if you can slow him down a little bit, you can kind of figure out some things. So I think Houston gets the win.
Good. I think that's going to be a good game.
It should be.
Sure.
It should be. The New York Giants at the Vegas Raiders. Tyrod Taylor's hurt, I think, now too. So I don't even know who they have playing at quarterback. I'm gonna go Vegas. I'm gonna go
Vegas too because I just win, baby. Okay, I'm a Raiders fan, proud of it. Unfortunately, I think they played tonight against Detroit, so that's gonna be.
It's gonna be tough. We'll see which Detroit team comes out.
Yeah, right. That's the thing too. It's like they look good and flashy and stuff, but like which team's gonna show up?
Yeah.
And I don't even know. I think Jimmy G's gonna play for Vegas, so that'll be an interesting game. They're just a mess, so I don't know. We'll see. But then, if they lose that game against Detroit, I definitely can see them beating the Giants at home for sure. Yeah. Even on a short week, that's a must-win game there for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Daniel Jones might come back, and who knows what the Giants are going to be if he comes back this week. So we'll see. But Dallas at Philadelphia, good little NFC East matchup.
Yeah.
Why they didn't flip this with Cincy and Buffalo for Sunday Night Football, I'll never know. But anyway,
how flex so early in the season is weird.
It is weird. Or freaking Los Angeles and New York, switch them. Yeah. Once Aaron Rodgers got hurt, it's about time niggas go and switch that one. But I think Dallas looks good, in spurts. Like they they look good from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But this will be the game they come out because they're playing a quality team. They'll come out flat and lose.
You think so?
Yes. I think Philly gets this win.
Okay.
But Philly's been asking for a loss in the last couple of weeks, too. They are. They're asking for one. They're like, please, just lose. Can we just lose the game? I just want to lose. That's all I want to do. But they just, by hook or by crook, they figure it out.
They always do. And that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Dallas because Philly's, they're due. They're due to lose.
It's true.
And I think Jalen Hurts' knee is a problem.
Okay.
Parsons getting to Hurts is going to be an issue. They're going to have 3 guys on him. Yeah. And his mobility, I just don't know. Because even towards the end of the Washington game, you see he was kind of hopping around pretty good there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Dallas kind of just rights the ship here.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, Dallas is losing and getting smoked. I think they right the ship here, and then they become a contender again until they lose to some random team, which is usually that's
until December comes.
Until December, and they kind of fade away after Thanksgiving, right?
They'll lose Thanksgiving and then
that's a wrap.
Buffalo at Cincinnati Sunday Night Football. Man. This should be a good one.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's been cooking, man. He
finally got healthy.
The Niners yesterday. I think so too. Yeah, isn't it crazy how he got healthy while playing? Still, it's not like he took a week off or anything like that. It's like, man, so that's good to see. Looks like he's slowly getting back to where he was at. Buffalo, man, they have a lot of problems. We've seen it the past few weeks, right? I just don't know. You feel like they're so good. Even last year, they're so good, and it's just kind of like you're waiting for them to be
self-destruct.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for them to be that good Buffalo team that you want to gamble on to make it to the Super Bowl. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they haven't shown you that at all.
Yeah.
Not even week 1.
Yeah, week 1 they didn't. Yeah.
No. So I don't know, man. That's a tough one too. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Okay.
As much as I just badmouth them, I think they have a bad taste in their mouth from the AFC Championship or whatever the division game against the Bengals last year in the snow, where that game was over in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you think? No. Fool's gold.
I don't know, man. Yeah. With both of these teams, right? I feel like Cincy is really good, but that's because Jamar Chase is always open.
Yeah.
Yes. Literally. But Buffalo. I don't know. Buffalo's fool's gold to me too. I think Buffalo has all the potential to be really good until it's time to be really good, and they're not.
No, right? That's the thing too. It's another team where you're like just waiting for them to beat a good team.
This is hard. This one's a tough one. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Okay, I like it.
Go Buffalo. I think that, like you said, revenge game a little bit. They're a little bit. Yeah,
Oh man, I know these guys are all paid professionals, but they remember that game for sure. And that one obviously meant more than this one, So, but hey, Bengals look pretty good against San Francisco. I'll tell you what, that's not a tough place to pick up a win either.
Yeah, that's true.
That was impressive for sure.
But I mean, that's what makes me feel like I wonder about Cincy because you're playing the Niners with injuries.
Right?
Is that
Yeah.
Are you as good as we think you are right now, or are you kind of what we saw at the beginning of the season? Who knows?
Good point.
It's tough. It's tough to know, and once they, this will be a good one, a good little test for both of these teams, honestly.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, to end it out, the Los Angeles Chargers at the New York Jets. I don't think the Jets pull off an upset on Monday night again. They did it week 1. No Aaron Rodgers and all that, but I know. I don't think the Chargers are good. I don't.
No,
I don't think the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are great. I think the Chargers are very talented. I just think the Chargers can't get out of their own way.
No.
But
I think for me, I think this would be a very winnable game for the Jets. They're kind of getting some wins when you're like, how are they winning without Aaron Rodgers? But they're getting it done. And that's credit to Salah and what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
So their defense is going to keep them in it. They're going to turn Herbert over. He'll probably throw 2 picks at least. But it's a matter of getting in their own way. If Herbert doesn't have the mentality to get past that and ball up, then they should win. The Chargers should win.
Yeah.
Do the Jets have Monday Night Magic going on for them?
I
don't know. It depends on which version of Zach Wilson you're getting, too. Is it the downgraded version that's why you went out and got Aaron Rodgers, or the kid that you're like, this is who we drafted, So I don't know.
We'll see.
I'll go with the Jets. Why not? I'll go with the home team.
I'm going upset, too.
Okay,
I'm going upset with the Jets.
I love it. No, why not?
I'm not getting paid for this.
And that's the whole favorite team. Our chief meteorologist.
Oh yeah.
She's she'll be giving birth here. Well, her due date for her child is November 14th.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's crazy to think, but yeah, she's a big
build
Jets
some
fan.
momentum right here.
Building some momentum right here. It starts with that Monday night.
For the little Jets fan coming out.
There you go. Exactly.
But yeah, I'm going Jets too, simply because I do think the Chargers are talented. I think the Chargers can get out their own way, and this is one of those weird games.
It is.
This is one of those weird games where I think the Jets have enough offensive firepower and a good enough defense to slow them down a little bit.
Plays. Yeah, some random play that Zach Wilson's going to, something miraculously is going to happen that you're like, how did that happen? Yeah. And that's why I also feel like it's almost like being a Raiders fan. It's like, how did that happen? Like, you got to be kidding me. Chargers same way. They always have the most random stuff happen to them, and this could be one of those games.
Yep. But Lawrence, I appreciate you.
Hey man,
for
always,
back.
Dude.
I'm sure you'll be back very, very soon. I'm sure.
Oh, it's always a lot more exciting and a lot more chipper. You get from me when they win.
So maybe on the next win, I'll bring you back.
Let's go. How about 3 straight weeks?
Three straight weeks.
That's where we're headed.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And
but
we don't change socks. We don't change underwear because now we're in the
superstitious mode.
Superstitious mode now. That's
or maybe just a little stitches. Whichever one.
Maybe just a little more stitches.
But definitely, I appreciate it, man.
Of course, man.
We'll see. You can catch this guy.
Yeah.
Monday through Fridays, every morning early. Get the sleep out your eyes, and you talk about chipper. This guy, I would have thought he's
chill, man.
He's been doing it.
Yeah, man. Mornings are fun. Mornings are fun. I'm up and at 'em. Granted, we're on air at 5 o'clock, but I probably don't hit my stride till probably 7:30 or so. But I'm just kidding.
But you'll never know.
You never know. You never know.
He's a pro.
Yeah, but no, it's a lot of fun, man. We appreciate you always having me on.
Of course. Definitely hope you guys enjoy the show as well. Remember, the Keep Prowling podcast is on all major podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of your favorites, Pocket Cast, all of those. Also on YouTube as well if you want to see the video, and on BayEchoSports.com as well with all our other favorite shows. Atlanta Little, 704. Live high school sports, all that stuff, man. All that stuff. All of it. You can make a big old playlist of a whole bunch of things, and then you can go over to WCCB and you can check out my man over here,
man. Check out that Eddie Pinheiro story.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Definitely. Lawrence, once again, I appreciate it.
We'll
see you
always.
on the next one, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Keep Prowling podcast. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the Keep Prowling podcast.